Okay, hello and welcome. Just going to give a couple of minutes for everyone to join us. Thank you very much for being here. Really looking forward to taking you through this. If it's your first time with us, a very warm welcome. But of course, if you've been on some of our other webinars, you've watched some of the replayed webinars, a very warm welcome back. I hope you've picked a few things up, and I look forward to taking you through this introduction to the AET. Okay, so I can see there's a few people in now, so let's get started. A very warm welcome for me. Sorry, first, my name's Leon Hady. I'm the founder of Guide Education. I was a former head teacher, so I know a few things about qualifications, taken lots of people through this qualification, and I can tell you all about it. And it's obviously, this is not just for schools. This can be a great introduction if you're doing training within an organisation, but also it's really useful if you just want to know more and more about teaching or working with people through what we call the learning cycle. It's a model, there's different models that you can use, but the teaching learning cycle is quite an important one, which is covered in the AET, and I'll be taking you through some of that. So if you haven't been with us before, I'm mainly going to be talking. It's really to maximise and deliver an opportunity. Text comments are always welcome in the chat, really appreciate it, and I will pick up on some of those towards the end. Obviously, if you're watching the replay, I'll take some of those out just so it's more condensed, so you're seeing more and more. And there will be a one-to-one link if you want to speak to, or you want to look at, the links towards purchasing or finding out more, or watching another video with an introduction. So who are we? Well, we've been doing this for quite a while now. We've had 11,000 teachers come through us in some kind of training. We've made most of the people as well complete, which is quite unique for online learning. The traditional pass rate being between 10 and 12%. We've got worldwide reach. We've got offices in different countries, but we also train teachers across the world in different countries as well. The majority of what we do are short courses and compliances, and this, the AET, would count as a short course because it's been done in a matter of months. Many of what we do, as I say, are level 3, level 4, but we have got lots of people doing QTS as well, which is a full teacher qualification. And although our background is schools and most of what we do is with schools, the AET is a great kind of path opener in terms of which way you can go with what you're trying to do. You can go into a very specific school route or a specific training route, or obviously you can use it for depending on what you want to do, and I'll go through some of that as well. So this is again another part of the web series that we've been delivering. Please have a look at those if you haven't had a chance to do so already. And their focus here is going to be around three main things: the entry-level qualification, what does that mean, why it's quite tried and tested and it's a great introduction, and obviously to give you an introduction, if you do choose to do it with us, why our platform is quite unique and very helpful in doing that. So we start with the basics then. So the AET stands for the Award in Education and Training, and really what it's preparing you to do is to get a really strong basic grasp of the teaching and learning cycle, to be aware of the 5 principles, and that's really knowing your learners, setting up the learning for them, how you actually put that into practice by facilitating it, and then assessing, evaluating, and going back around the cycle. Obviously, it's gone into in huge detail in the course, but I'm just giving you an idea. It just gives you an idea of how you should treat a learner or learners that are with you. Now, there's a few things to actually bear in mind here. Where we've got the select level training and you're looking to lead training, one of the key things that you're looking for there when you have select level training is it's not something you say, yes, we can use this with children. I can use this with a 5-year-old. The teaching and learning with children is very different. So really this is looking at 14 plus. And what we have an idea of there is that a lot of students have been through the school system or been through some kind of learning system, so they're kind of clear with the classroom format. Facilitation is going to be done in a certain way, and we're going to kind of guide and move people down those routes, paths and principles. So you're going to be really focusing on 14 plus. Can you use the AET to teach younger? I wouldn't. There are other qualifications that you can take this one and do afterwards that's going to help you shape more like in early years or a primary PGCE. They're much more specific to dealing with those kind of learners and those kind of needs. And remember, one of the key things that you learn throughout the course is that if you don't know what the learner needs, you're never really going to be able to give them what they want. And that's the key thing about being a teacher or a trainer. You have to think about the person in front of you. It's not about you or your content. It's about trying to work with the need or the ability level of the student in front of you to be able to give the information over in the best way possible. Now, this is a massively used qualification in different training industries as well. When you're looking at people who lead training days, because they try and understand how to give you the information, and again, how to kind of get the best version of the information out of you. So again, it's really learning wide and flexible. And the teaching learning cycle, again, which I've mentioned at the beginning, is a model. There are other models, but this one's very sound. It's a great place to start, and of course you can refine and move on from there as you develop. And remember, this is a level 3 qualification, and what that really means is you are to understand the principles. When we get to level 4, we want to do a little more research with it, and number 5, you'll start to critique it. Level 6, obviously, you'll critique it a lot more, put in some of your own ideas, and then level 7 becomes master's level, level 8 becomes PhD level. So where does this sit? It sits kind of around the A level mark, but obviously it's nowhere near as complicated as an A level, but that's a level 3, a C grade A level is kind of where we're sitting to, and that's what we're looking at moving on with. So the most important thing to think about here is this is what, if you're looking at teaching anyway, this is a pre-service qualification. The pre-service qualifications in general, you have to remember what they're there to do. They're there to kind of give you a base standard, and we know that if everyone has this AET, or if everyone has a QTS or whatever it is we can have certain expectations from them. Obviously, when you get to QTS and moving up to levels like that, we have a professional expectation of you as well. With the AET, not so much. It's kind of looking really about how you work with learners rather than looking at your professionalism within any given space or training that you're trying to do, because you could be in any field. So it's very hard to kind of signify exactly what those should be. So it's really all about the qualification. But I'd also say to you, when you're kind of doing the AET, it's really, really good, obviously, to be in a situation where you're using it. You can do it without any training at all, but it does help if it's there, because a lot of things will jump out at you more. You'll understand why you're doing this. And I'd always try and kind of siphon off the education part with the best practice parts and then the qualifications, because really there's a lot that you'll learn within the AET, which is just basically a bedrock. It's a bedrock for you to do bigger, stronger, better things from further reading and obviously from knowing your best practice. And also that wider idea of education. You might find a tangent within the AET which interests you, so then you'll dive deep down into some area of research and practice, and that will be really, really useful for your education, but you don't need it for your qualification. So that's really down to you to understand now how you choose to engage with the subject material, and we've obviously tried to make it as interesting and appealing as possible for you, and then you go from there. I'd also say to you in this one, it's really, really important to detach the institution and the person. It doesn't really matter as much where you do the AET, because it can be done even teaching, just a small group of adults in a community centre. You don't have to be in a school. So try to think about this as being perfecting the model of teaching and learning cycle in this instance, rather than thinking, oh, I've got to do this, or I've got to do that, I've got to do that. You can really follow the videos we have and do it that way without too much kind of input or kind of overview from the needs of, say, an institution that you're working with. This can be quite separate, but of course, if you are in an institution, you will be able to understand and, just pop and come to life a bit better if you're doing that. So now we're going to take a look at some of the pathways that you can take with the level 3 and after the level 3. So really, it's the award in education and training that you can get that really, really solid base, but you can use it in many different industries, and so this might be the only thing you ever do at teaching. You might move off to a different space and remit, and that's what I've kind of noted here, that you could move into a level 4 in marketing, and obviously then the teaching becomes a very enjoyable entry into a re-entry maybe into education for you, depending on what you need. Now, if you are maybe a parent, or if you are someone who's thinking about taking a school career, or you've been working in a college, or you've enjoyed tutoring and you want to take more formal steps, the level 3 might then move on to naturally something I haven't noted here called the Certificate in Education Training, which is CET. But we don't recommend the CET, because if you've done the level 3, you're probably better off moving straight up to the level 5. And the level 5 is the Diploma in Education and Training. And level 5 becomes a prerequisite, because it counts as almost like or the equivalent to a foundation year, or it's equivalent to the first year of university. So a lot of people will look at that as kind of the most in-depth level that you'll do. Now, it's a much bigger qualification. We can talk about that in detail, but at this current stage, just thinking this is some of the pathways that you can move on to. And as you can see here, some of them is in teaching. If you want to move to the EYFS, which is the early years, foundational studies, and then, or you can move into the DET. So again, it's a great base, where you can actually pick which route and which pathway you actually want to go down. And then afterwards, when you move into level 6 stuff, it becomes very, very varied again. You can do accounting qualifications, or like this one here, we actually spotted and noted, you can do strategic planning, and you can continue to do courses like this that kind of build you and move you along that pathway. And obviously, you're the one who knows what it is. Of course, you can do the level 3 and then move into maybe looking at a HLTA level 4, becoming a teaching assistant. So it really, really kind of opens that spectrum for you, where you can look at what you do and what you're doing. And the last thing I'd say on it is you really think about it's very worth doing. There's lots of opportunity and meat out there when you do this, so it'll be a really, really good thing for you to actually try and engage with. So yeah, I always like to know what people are thinking and how you're finding it, so please do drop some comments and takeaways in there. So just anything that you want us to think about or share with colleagues, share with myself, really, really always happy to hear. hear from you and look forward to answering those. And in this last section now, I just kind of talk you through how you'd learn on our platform. So if you are going through the AET, you will have signed in and you'll be greeted with something like this. Obviously on our platform we have a range of different qualifications and levels, but obviously if you purchase the AET, you're only going to have the AET. And once you get in there, we'll give you a short course induction video, and then you'll see that the AET is broken down into 3 units. Now inside all of those, and you see here we've got some green sections, which basically means we've completed. We can click on them, know which part we want to do. You don't have to do them in order, but obviously it helps to do them in order. And then what we'll do is we'll go to the video and we will be able to watch it. And you see this blue dot that comes up towards the end. What happens when we get to that point of the video? Just getting through this one here, which is on explaining ways
to challenge
inequality and diversity. And you come there and it ask you to consider ways in which you can promote equality and diversity. And then you're in a situation where you will be able to answer those things. Obviously, you can drop a comment in, and obviously you can just leave an answer for any of those things. Now, these are all elective, and that's really, really important to stress. These are elective. You don't have to do those. They're just prompting you, helping you think, and it does give you more of a wider understanding. The most important part here is the AET assessments. And in the assessments, when we go in there and we look at the different things that are in the assessments, we can find that in them, or within them, should I say, there's lots of junction points about how to complete the items fully. So this video not only tells you how to do the assessment, within them as well is the different elements that will help you to
welcome
record. There we go. To explain, it will push you and say, yes, this is something that you need for 1.1. This is what you're doing for this. This is what you're doing for this. These are really, really important in trying to make sure that you cover and fulfill the different requirements that are needed. So it's very, very, very well supported. You've got
Question 2.
Excuse me. You've got all the different elements and pathways that you're going through. You get everything's put in a video, so it's easy to digest. Obviously, you can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on your computer, and there's download sheets with each one as well. So hopefully, it gives you a great range of items in which to use to actually help you to complete the AET. Yeah, it's probably one of the only ones that's actually out there that's video based. So hopefully, this will be a great help to you. You'll enjoy doing it as much as we enjoy putting it together for you. Really, thank you very much for your time today. It's been really, really nice to speak to you. Hope it was of use, and I look forward to seeing you sooner rather than later in another webinar or another tutorial.